anything you can think of, somebody has already, has made it available for us. Seen here. I am very impressed by such what do you call, information which is directly available for us. If you remember the very early drawings I showed you, invariably had things from here. You see here very carefully, if you see, there are 3 or 4 variants of it. There is a bottom, there is a top. The bottommost shows how it is put together, and then I do not know whether it's a matching plate, and you try to, now you can build your own equipment directly on this. All you need to do is try to understand these things. Only problem is, they are not as inexpensive and easily available as we think, as we would want to. So we have, most of us know, now slowly things are becoming wearable, anything you want, biomedical, energy harvesting, and something to track your movement. You want it, is it not? The more you think about it, so we have absolutely seen this, no? Anything you want is probably already somebody has thought about it. Interesting life. Wish it was there when I was this thing, no? Right now, it's very, very easy for you to try to configure, make any of these things as you want. And you see here, very important thing is it continues to be IP65, IP66, and not mentioned explicitly. A lot of them are made with materials that are compatible with the body compatible. So if you are to wear it, it's unlikely that you will get hurt. So they are friendly with skin friendly and various other things, and you see it is very much rounded and so on. Well, at one level, what can be simple industrial instrumentation, these all have come here to us now. We need not look far. Anything you want, something related to wearable enclosures and all the way up to fully industrial is available. I am a fan of this so-called wired enclosures. Wish we had this. Well, that is very commonplace. What is not very commonplace is this. You have seen this? It is some remote control. You see at the back, this seems to be part of a bed meant for hospital equipment. Only if you are ever admitted in a hospital, or if you have gone and visited friends or relatives who have been in a hospital, you will discover that the environment has changed, and so is the requirement of safety and shock proofness in all those places. Even the simplest bed is powered. You do not have levers, somebody can press up and down, or you need to crank up levers. Instead of cranking, we have various types of remote control. So while a wireless remote looks good a lot of times, it's not as convenient, as simple, or a best solution you can think of, because the ultimate, what if the remote loses power, and what if if it gets spoiled, and what if you drop it? All this can be taken over if you have, all that you need is a wired remote. You have a beautiful wired remote here, and because it's a general purpose thing, they are just trying to show the overlap panel in which you would like to make things more and more visible here. You have seen this. So probably it is just that the next level. I am not yet ready for function keys and a menu operated and so on, but let us say if you are a trained technician, and or if you are a doctor who have no choice but to train yourself, probably you will use it. As we are coming here, you see many more things are ready. We already have a box, whatever you are thinking about now, where two USB socket equivalents are already mounted there. So it's for you to go about trying to use this as much as possible, and now you have a full-fledged piggyback or daisy chain riding type of things. This, if you think carefully about what we saw the other place, no, probably it's something remote which needs to operate something, and then the red generally refers to an emergency stop. Okay, so you think it, we already have it. You have seen here at the bottommost, no, they have given here safety engineering, medical and therapeutic measuring and control technology. So we think of medical as generally only that is there in a hospital. Slowly several of the things are coming home. You need not go all the way to a hospital, or you may go to a smaller primary health clinic where you are asked to build these things. Simplest thing I can think of is a simple blood pressure monitor. Cheapest ones cost, I expect, around $50. A good one costs about $200 to $300. And the magic thing is they're absolutely repeatable, safe. In the unlikely case of something spilling on it, nothing will happen. So I'm quite happy to have taken you through these very complicated things. So you've seen here anything like, a tabletop cases, handheld cases with the highest things and all that, no? All that is waiting for you is for your design, so that you can incorporate all these things in your designs. Only as a sample, they have put this, I don't even know what it is, they just put some magnetic, electric, something, and low, high, and you can use it probably in some suspect natural medicine, including, you give an electric impulse here and you get better, and quite different from snake oil, but not proven very well. But once you try this, probably there are enough people will probably buy your equipment, and we have a very large demand for grooming, and people who would like to do things to their, I do not know, various body, including hair removers and maybe water removers, and something which will examine your skin and do this. For all these things, already things are available, and people are ready to pay a premium for these products. Unlike generic products, these things which are used for grooming, starting from maybe a beard trimmer, maybe eventually an electric nail clipper, and something which will polish. I don't know whether somebody has come out with it. I expect that in due course, something which applies and removes nail polish or attaches artificial nail art we have enclosures ready for it. It's for you to make things for that. If you see here, most of the time we have this names like PMMA. PMMA is nothing but polymethyl acrylate, which is variant. Some of us know it as plexiglass. That is, Roman has that, and then ICI, I think he calls it some other name, no, which is there with it. Now you see inside, already it comes with things which are built inside. Compared to some of the now very low cost things which are likely to buy for a few hundred rupees for a couple of dollars, these things are engineered perfectly well. One is material compatibility, so they are unlikely to rust, and then even if you examine the way that cover seem to sit on the battery case, it ensures that there are lipping which provides for proper grip, and then you see this, it definitely is ergonomic. There are no sharp edges, nothing is likely to hurt you, and then a bit of design has been built into it. So you have I do not know, something it is showing 13.8 and 93 and 69 and so on. It is just a simulation. You have them. So next time when you attempt to make anything, I suggest you have a look at all these catalogs. So you will appreciate somebody has been doing a lot of homework around these parts that you require. Now I will go to something which is slowly getting nearer and nearer to what is allowed in or easier to, and what we have used are the things that come from Taiwan, then Korea, China and Japan and these things. Even now in the so-called Western world also, probably they are all sourced from here. So over here in India, invariably we go with these things which are easily available for us. So two of them I would like to touch upon are these. You see this beautiful enclosures which have all the features like the other ones, plus they also come with flanges such that they can be mounted easily, and more than anything else, application data for a packaging engineer, this application data is very, very critical for us. Every small detail saying what comes on top and what comes here, and then if you were to make any detail to occupy this space, you see here I see that I have a place of 87 mm. So something which is 87 mm or maybe 85 mm wide by around say 80 mm can be put like this. Alternatively, I can have something which is say this small thing we can have. Otherwise, if I notch off these corners, I can have a PCB which sits nicely inside. Somewhere there are also grooves in the walls. I can see that things can go and sit in the grooves in the walls. And then all sorts of provisions of mounting, the full drawings are available to us. So I like this. Again, I am not endorsing any one particular manufacturer, but I see that the easy availability of this information, and then your chances of you will be able to deal directly and then make your products ready for the market is something which is very, very positive. I am now suddenly with the what do you call it, the new economy where this data is easily available. So all of them come with that star saying they are copyright. So we cannot randomly go and start copying these things. However, this is application note, and then you can always what do you call, depend on these suppliers for you to make wherever you want to do. So this is again one of my favorites which I have used elsewhere earlier. So I'd like to show you this small enclosure. See here, makes life extremely easy and convenient for me here. So I have here a place for a keypad which is approximately 8 mm by 8 mm keypad. Then I have a place here for a small window. If it is an LED, it can be probably a transparent window, or in some very rare cases special windows are available. And then the back, there is enough place for us to put a 40 character 2-line general purpose display, or a full completely accessible pixels type of a display, and such things can even be used for building anything. If you are one of the students who enjoys making this is the place. And then you see here I have even a more beautiful enclosure which appears to be easy for me to hold. In one of the very earlier lectures, so I showed you how you would hold it, how the width of it has been controlled, and in this case you have a display which is slightly wider than your grip. So you have already a standard enclosure for it, and if you can lay your hands or even order them online, you are already in business. If you are one of those new startups who would like to demonstrate your capability of designing something, you can probably become a enclosure design person. So let us say your other people can come to you, you can have all this, and at the total turnaround cycle for the first design becomes easy. Anything you want, you can just look up on the enclosures here, and eventually even if it is a very, very complicated design, you can have it all ready. Seen this? I cannot imagine a more informative. So it could be anything. Let us say you wanted to monitor energy usage in the house, saying how long a particular air conditioning has been running, or how warm or how cool it feels, and then you would like to make an equipment. You just need to lay your hands on one of these enclosures, put all the necessary sensors, electronics, everything, and then the best part of it is all of them come with necessary hardware which will make sure that input and output connections and all through various types of grommets, various types of gland nuts, all these accessories are easily available with us. So if you click on this accessory for enclosures, you will notice that anything you can think of by way of hinges, by way of clamps, and this is one of my, what I will say, favorites, which often engineers or what do you call, students and engineers are likely to miss. See, very interesting if you see a little closer at this drawing. Hey, it has something. There is a nut-like thing here, then there is something here, then there is a washer here, and there is something else here. The whole thing is about, it's an opening to take wires in and out of your enclosure. So, you will see that while part of the environment is very comfortable and very nice to see, part of it is not that easily known, because once it is installed and it's placed, nobody touches it, everything is fine. But the first time something is opened and try to put it back, you will notice that it will lead to some amount of failure, some amount of what do you call, missing out on a few of the hardware and so on. But if you look at a place like this, a gland nut, a cable gland, any size you can think of is already available for you. And then all the necessary hardware, including how to pack the gland, what are the cable sizes that go inside, and occasionally a special type of a sealing compound. It is not just RTV, something which is also lubricates, and then it also packs, it swells and stays in place, are all available. So, even if a small thing like in your house, you would like to keep an outdoor light, garden lights, and switches for the garden lights, maybe a foot switch, you will notice that is interesting. If you want to do, you can depend on all these things, and then the way they have been designed, if you follow the original sequence of assembly, sequence of disassembly, and follow all the design and installation guidelines, they are designed for life, things work. You will never have any problem relating to this. So, I am one of the fans of all this hardware which goes with sealed enclosures. You must learn to see. So, you see here, what looked simple there is actually a little complicated. There was a ferrule like thing. So, as you turn this nut, that ferrule closes, and then if there is a packing inside, it will go and grip the anything what you keep inside. It could be another tube, it could be a silicone sleeve, and inside that you can have your cables, and it is practically watertight. So, one of them is this, like this, we have wall mounting brackets, and then really interesting. I am sure you must have been looking for it all the time. Hey, I wish I had this. My hobby, I would have converted it into a product. Looks very innocuous, very simple, a holder for 2 cells. But then the advantage of it is reliable, and then you have mounting holes, and then you also have connectors, or if you want you can have wires. What the doctor ordered, it is a compounder. The doctor used to give generic medicines, and the compounder would mix each of them and make it into a something which is safe for you. You can't buy anything off the, no need to buy anything off this, there is nothing ethical or unethical about it. So, we have here exactly what the doctor ordered, whatever you want is already available. You have seen that, no, this is for 2AA batteries. So, you have things which for meant for anything you can think of, and then you have seen this. We have a beautiful handles for these enclosures. So, if you have an idea, it is very easy for you. If you follow any of these what do you call enclosure systems, very quickly you can convert it into a product. So, allow me to end this lecture here and see what you will be able to take next year. I'm sorry, in the next session. So thank you. My suggestion is go back to this lecture, and then somewhere I have shown you the text file which shows you what are all the manufacturers have been making these things. Have a look at this text file. So this text file shows you anything you can think of here. Just go back through this file, and it is just picked up randomly depending on what my connection could give, and then I have gone through and try to go along with you in detail, because I have been going with this since almost the time net and these things are ready. I suggest you go through any of this, and in case you have access, you can give a search on using any of the search engines, go through all the details, and then if you can leave them in a digital form, it will be useful for you. Next is find out your local supplier, and then before you start your design, you should start with one of these available enclosure to see typically the aspect ratio, what is the size, and you will end up with a minimum of 2 to a maximum of 3 iterations before your product can be made. One of them can be, instead of making an absolutely brand new circuit which is not very reliable, you can probably end up with automatically start laying it up on in a PCB package, because that old way of stringing resistors and capacitors and all that, well, I won't call it obsolete, it is too time consuming, and I am sure you are in that stage of your design profession by which you do not need to do breadboarding anymore. If you to do breadboarding for important circuit, it is okay, but then these days you can automatically lay out the circuit directly on a computer screen. So if you want to do it, that first layout will give you only, you can have a simple schematic capture, and then you can have the interconnections, that is called the rat's nest. Then after that, when you do the actual layout of the PCB and so on, if you also match it with that PDF drawings which I have shown you, because once you have completed that breadboarding stage, once you have a small circuit that is working, you have some estimate of what are the very large components where you cannot violate the footprint, and what are all the smaller components which you can afford to place them. If you have the outline which is taken from one of the earlier PDF drawings and you can input it, if you can convert it into a DXF or IGS or DWG standards, most of the layout packages accept it. Instead of starting with a 3x4 or 16x9 rectangle on the screen and then wondering what to do, you can probably start with one of these enclosures and then try to put the mounting holes, and important thing is input output, where do you mount your power supply and all this. Now information is available here, you can directly use one of them. So probably in the first iteration itself you will have a equipment which is almost about ready to work. You can henceforth start concentrating on the functionality of it, saying how does it work with respect to temperature, how does it work with respect to EMC, and the second round most likely it can go off into production, and at that point you have multiple manufacturers who can start with your whatever the first this thing you have started, and otherwise if you have taken it from the catalog from one of the existing manufacturers, you can probably negotiate with them, and then you are in business and doing good for the society. And as somebody said, while a lot of money has gone into making ads, people would like to have a way by which you cannot switch off the TV when the ad is running. I am still waiting for a device which can selectively show me the ads which I want and selectively mute the ads which I do not want. I know fortunately I work without sponsorship. So, as such it is there. So, thanks a lot. Bye, have a nice time until we meet again. I suggest this is probably one of the most important lectures in this series. I want you to again go back to the text file, try to go through each of that information I have shown, and I will see at least one or two of them can be converted into cases which you can take advantage of. So, bye. Thank you.